The first step in doing so is going to be loosening up this Allen bolt, which will loosen this collar and allow you to spin it. And you're going to want to spin it counterclockwise all the way till it's to the top of the thread. Once you have this completely loosened up and thread all the way to the top of the threads and release the tension off of the spring, you're going to want to grab a 13mm socket and loosen up this top bolt as well as this bottom bolt down here by the linkage. You're also going to want to grab a 19mm socket and loosen up this bolt. In order to get this bolt out of the linkage, what I was just referring to, the 19mm, you might have to just lift up on the rear wheel just ever so slightly and it should wiggle right out. Once the 19 and 13mm bolts are out at the bottom, I do suggest keeping the top one on just to keep everything in place so it's not falling down at you. You will notice that it's pretty cramped down here and there's a lot of tension on this spring. My suggestion is put something underneath the rear wheel just to lift it up, just give you a little more space down here to work with. Once everything is loosened up and you have that rear wheel propped up, you should see that there is no tension on the spring whatsoever. Your next step is going to be taking off of this gray clip, I guess if you want to call it that. It's kind of KTM's way. They replaced the SIR clip and it's just almost like a little puzzle piece. You should just be able to lift up this spring, release the tension, and pull it apart with your hands. If not, just grab a screwdriver and you should be able to pry it apart. Just be careful not to damage any of the parts. Once that gray piece is off, you should be able to slide off the spring just like so. Once the spring is off, go up here and loosen up and take out this 13mm completely. You can see now that the shock is just dropped and dangling. I did go ahead and remove that block that was holding up my rear wheel as well. So now the shock is ready to be removed. One thing I do want to note is you do not want to damage this rod. So what I'm going to do just to protect it a little bit is I'm going to move this up to the center. And now with one hand, and now we have a big open space with that wheel dropped. With one hand, I can just go ahead and grab this. And the shock is now uninstalled. Now that the shock is removed, if you want to go ahead and install it and all your work, service work, or whatever you're doing to your shock is complete, all you're going to have to do is basically follow these steps backwards and it'll go on the same way you took it off. Thanks for watching.